humid evening in the Yemeni port city of Aden. A convoy of jeeps pull up and a group of heavily armed Americans and Europeans disembark from their vehicle. Despite their nationality, these men were not deployed here by any Western government. They are guns for hire, recruited by the United Arab Emirates. Walking across the dusty street, one of the mercenaries approaches a building, the office of a local political party called al-Islah. Calmly, he removes a bomb from a pouch on his jacket and places it on the building's doorway. At 9:58, before the bomb is fully attached, one of the other mercenaries is startled by something down the street and starts indiscriminately firing down the length of the busy road. With pedestrians fleeing, having successfully attached the bomb to the door, the mercenaries make a break for it, abandoning their arrival vehicle and leaping into two UAE armoured cars and speeding away. As the second of the cars passes the office, the bomb detonates, followed shortly by a secondary bomb affixed to the underside of their arrival vehicle. Fortunately, in this botched operation, neither target nor any bystanders were killed, but many more raids just like this have occurred all across Yemen, conducted by Western mercenaries funded by the UAE government. These men belong to a shadowy mercenary organisation known as Spear Operations Group. So who were they? What was the purpose of this operation and their wider goal in Yemen? And what has happened to them since this story broke? The formation of Spear links back through a complex network of individuals, but it all revolves around one man named Abram Golan. Abram is a Hungarian-Israeli national, educated in France and trained in the French Foreign Legion. As a highly skilled soldier, over his career, he developed a wealth of connections within the military world. In 2015, seeing the rising instability in the Middle East, he spotted an opportunity for a man with his skill set offering to quell sectarian violence for one side to be able to make a serious profit. But for an operation like Spear to work would take large amounts of foreign funding, and so he reached out to a man with high connections within the UAE government, Mohammed Dalan. Mohammed has a dark past, having been brought up in a refugee camp within the Gaza Strip. Early in his life, he was placed as head of security for the Strip, and in the 90s he oversaw some of the most violent crackdowns against Hamas. Once touted as a possible future leader of the Palestinian Authority, in 2007 he catastrophically fell from grace. Accused of corruption and colluding with Israel, he was expelled from Palestine. A man without a state, he sought refuge in the UAE, and there began ingratiating himself in their politics, eventually finding himself as the key advisor to the UAE's crown prince. Abram agreed to meet with Mohammed and several other higher-ups within the UAE military at the Officers Club on an Emirati army base. There he proposed to them the concept of Spear Operations. The initial pitch was that Spear Operations would help to suppress Al-Qaeda in southern Yemen. At that meeting, a deal was struck that the UAE would lease their services at a rate of $1.5 million per month, with bonuses for each successful assassination. We now know, however, that Spear's involvement in Yemen went well beyond Al-Qaeda. So what was it that the UAE was really using them for? The political landscape in Yemen is incredibly complex, with currently 4 main factions vying for control. By the way, a lot of the conflict and alliances here are heavily influenced by the division between Sunni and Shia Islam. It's very complex and could be a video in its own right, like this one for instance. I'll link it in the description below. In the northwest of the country are the Shia Houthi forces, currently occupying the capital Sana'a and having jurisdiction over the majority of Yemen's population. They are the largest force within the country, and they've recently been making their presence felt internationally through their disruptions of shipping in the Red Sea. In the west is the remainder of the country held by the internationally recognised Cabinet of Yemen. Being Sunni, they are backed by Saudi Arabia and are currently ruling in exile from Riyadh. Also ingrained within the Cabinet's territory of various areas of Al-Qaeda control. Lastly, along the south coast of the country is a separatist group known as the Southern Transitional Council. Their goal is to see Yemen return to its state prior to the 90s and have it once again split into two countries. The STC are heavily backed by the UAE in defiance of Saudi Arabia. Both the STC and the Cabinet of Yemen are loosely allied in their opposition to the Houthis, but they are in direct opposition to each other regarding the future of Yemen. So where amongst all of this does Spear Operations fit in? Well, that brings us back to their first botched operation that we discussed at the beginning of this video. Their target was a man named Ansaf Mayo. Mayo was the leader of a prominent Islamist party called al-Islah. Mayo and his officers were based in Aden, part of the territory currently controlled by the STC, but his party makes up part of the expelled Cabinet of Yemen. Al-Islah is the Yemeni branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. Not widely considered by the West to be a terrorist organisation, the Muslim Brotherhood is however considered to be so by many countries across the Middle East due to their support for democracy and elections. It's because of al-Islah's involvement with the Muslim Brotherhood and association to the exiled government that the UAE designated Mayo as a target. Spear Operations were told by their handler within the UAE that Mayo was a terrorist. Spear claimed that they did their own background checks to confirm that this was the case, but all available evidence indicates that he has no involvement with terrorism.
If my handlers say, here's the intelligence, this is the target, and this is why, who am I to question? I'm a soldier for you. Roger that.
This is just one example of many of the UAE using Spear Operations not to fight terrorism, but rather to help strengthen their grip over the region. Additionally, Spear has also been shown to have trained Emirati soldiers who went on to train local Yemenis and, ironically, even members of Al-Qaeda to conduct further assassinations. Between 2015 to 2018, according to the human rights charity Reprieve, there was a total of 102 targeted killings in Yemen, with a distinct spike around the time that Spear Operations Group became operational in the country. Spear Operations have now allegedly disbanded, but it seems irrefutable that they had involvement well beyond fighting terrorism in the region. There are currently prosecutions underway from human rights lawyers trying to charge Spear Group with war crimes, and US Senator Elizabeth Warren has been vocal in demands for an investigation. But as of recording, there have been no consequences for the extrajudicial killings the Spear Group have been involved in. I just want to conclude by saying that much of what we know about this is only because of a BuzzFeed News article and the work of a BBC journalist named Nawal Al-Maghafi, who did an amazing piece of investigative journalism on this. I highly recommend checking them both out, so we'll link them in the pinned comment down below. Thanks for watching.